Man, the shenanigans on this episode was crazy. Let's talk about the Fashionaires of Atlanta, episode 4. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Fashionaires of Atlanta, Season 1, Episode 4, and the name of this episode is Model Mayhem. This episode was really good, and I can't wait to talk about it, so let me begin. The episode opens up, KL Allen and Asia Shari, along with Chase, they're doing a photo shoot together. And pretty much, he also, brings up, his whole situation that, involving Jean-Pierre and Tracy J and how things went left with that. So they're pretty much doing, doing a photo shoot, and Chase of Chase Models Management, he's also there working with them. They got models, and what ended up happening is that the makeup person and the hairstylist didn't show up. So Asia pretty much did makeup and hair for the models that were there. One of the models they featured was Becca Griff, and the photographer was Davario Sean. And I have to say, it, as far as that, it really came off really well. And then also one of the models canceled, and that was actually who's supposed to have been with Chase Agency. But Asia actually stepped in and actually became one of the models for the shoot. And the funny thing about it, backstage when she was getting fitted, she saw this piece that she liked from KL's collection, but it was the piece that Charzelle designed. And of course, KL felt some kind of way about that, but it was something that she liked, so she tried it on and see that it didn't fit. So she ended up wearing the same piece that Melania had wore in the shoot that KL had did with Jean-Pierre. And I had to say, it looked good, but honestly, I actually like that look better on Melania than I did on Asia. Even though I love Asia, and Asia looks gorgeous. But the thing is, I did like the earrings that she had, so it was very pro-black, and it was further expanding, his Black Lives Matters thing that he did at New York Fashion Week. So, even with all of the situations that arise, they took lemons and they made lemonade. So props to them. I mean, I thought that was genius. That, okay, hairstylist and the makeup didn't show up, one of the models didn't show up, okay, crunch time, let's make this shit happen. And they both were like-minded in that, and I have to say that was actually good to see how they came together. So then we see my girl Cachet Royale. She's back at home in Miami, and she's doing a radio interview. And I remember I actually saw this on Instagram when she had posted it. She does this live interview for Strong Arm Radio with Teddy T and DJ So, and she also mentions that this is, it's the same radio that actually gave her big break, into the industry. So, and I have to say, one thing that I really enjoyed when she was in the radio, when she was in the, at the radio studio, was that there's this wall of all these black greats, all these different black faces. I love collages like that, so I thought that was very creative, and they even mentioned it as well. And they pretty much are having this session where they're asking questions, and one of the questions that said that what do you do when people like family and friends want to be in competition with you? And pretty much Cachet was like, the thing is, I feel like either people want to win with you or they hating on you. And pretty much they did like a replay of the previous episode where Jordan Fashawn was going in about Cachet and saying that this is my town. If anybody gonna work through Atlanta, they need to go through me and all of that. And we see that Cachet is saying that you're like, look, I got haters, they out there, and cut me if you want to, but I'm not even gonna mention their names because they ain't gonna get no promotion out of me. I'm like, I don't blame you, girl. Uh, and then, pretty much she also talks about, that hateration, is like motivation, because they said that people want to get to the door, but don't nobody want to get done. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And she's saying that, and then they also discussed that, well, the funny thing about it, you realize that the issue's not with you, but they don't want you to be the one that's in the position that you're in. The whole idea is that, they want the opportunity, but they don't want to do the work that the opportunity requires. So they were just talking some real shit, and I was here for it all, And then she was saying that, look, I'm that type of person that I don't hate on nobody. Hate is a waste of time. I go hard, and I go hard because I want to be able to create a pathway where I can help others to do the same thing as far as being women in the industry. So I thought that was very, very insightful. And she also gets in her confessional, was like, look, you're either my friend or you're either my enemy. There is no in between with me. And then she also talks about, how she got started, what did you do when it came down to your line, how did you get it started? And she said that the thing is, at first I was trying to launch it where I was going to give away free products and all that. I admit, when I actually had one of my first businesses, because I'm an entrepreneur, I did that. And I learned the hard way that usually doesn't work. And in this, she kind of called it like, the thing is, I thought I was going to give things away, but then I decided, nah, I need to do this differently. So what I did is that I sold everything. I didn't give nothing away. And they kind of high-fived on like, yeah, that's how you do it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But at that time, it was like the first business I had, and I was just so eager to get things out. I gave away a lot of products, but nobody invested into it. So that was a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. So it was great that she brought that up. So I was like, checkmate. I get it. That was real. So then we get a scene with Daryl DC Chambers. They're they're on a rooftop, and Asia is doing a fashion show. DC Chambers is a part of it, and she wanted to do some fitting on him. And he actually praises Asia. He says that she's a very cool, down-to-earth person, and she's very talented. She has some good designs, and she's authentic. She actually sews her stuff, because he said that you got a lot of these, designers who just get like product and they just slap their name on it and it says it's theirs. Like, she actually creates her stuff. So he pretty much, gave compliment to her artistry. And then all of a sudden KL shows up, and KL was doing the most, because he obviously is like, oh, something going on between, Asia and DC. Like, what's this? I come here, because he came there to actually meet with Asia about this fashion show and some looks and things, because they decided to join forces and do a fashion show together. And he was like, and all of a sudden I see Daryl up in here, and I'm saying, like, what's going on here? And she was just fitting him, but KL was like, something else happening. Like, what's really going on over here? And it was just funny, because KL was a mess, and he was just smiling ear to ear like, yeah, that's what you're saying, but what's really happening? I thought that was cute. And pretty much he had asked Asia, you got a crush on DC? And she was like, he's handsome, yeah, but it's not like that. We're just friends, and she has this event. She has this event that she's preparing for Club of Asia, and she has some models, and that she's bringing with her, and that they're gonna be wearing her pieces and stuff like that. And she wanted one male model to be a part of that group, and she chose DC. So I'm like, she need a sexy man on her team. And I'm like, hey, Asia just keeping it real. He fine. And DC is fine. Like, hell. Ain't no denying that. But then DC, I fucks with him because he kind of was saying that I don't know what KL talking about, that we together. Like, nah, we just friends. We cool. We vibing. I mean, hell. Look around. Do you see any wine? Do you see any Hennessy for those who don't know about it? Do you see any turkey? Ain't no kind of turkey or no goose or nothing like that around here. So if it ain't that popping, ain't nothing going on. I was like, got a good point there. A damn good point. Especially when the hen definitely, creates things. Just from experience. But don't tell nobody. Anyway, so we see that going down, and they're discussing this whole fashion show that they want to put together, KL and Asia, and she asks him what's going to be his theme, and he's like, I'm not telling nobody my theme. I'm just going to do my thing, and I'm going to present it, and it is what it is. And I'm just going work my thing. And then like they start talking about Jean-Pierre, and he says like, well, what about Jean-Pierre? I know he has a line. And then it was like, Jean-Pierre has a line? And then of course, KL got his life with that, and he was just clowning and laughing and shit. And then DC says that I was supposed to actually do a shoot with him for his photo line. It was kind of like a Wakanda Forever African print type of thing. KL is just laughing hysterically. And then DC was like, well, the thing is, I was booked, so I wasn't able to do it. And then like Asia shaded Jean-Pierre in her confessional, was like, you got so much going on, but nobody sees what you're doing. Really though? I was like, Asia's ass is shady as hell when she be in those confessionals. Because she be real cool and calm, but when she get in those confessionals, she lets it all hang out. It ain't no different than like watching the Housewives or Love and Hip Hop. A lot of times, they be real cool in that moment, but in those confessionals, they let you know how they really feel. And it be that way. So, here it is. Then she, Asia brings up, Tracia J's like, what about her little hair care line, is she, what's she got popping or whatever, and pretty much, KL was shaded as like, right, got it, noted. And he says that, first of all, she threw a drink in my face, so, I really ain't fucking with that. And besides, since she just on some other shit, and I just ain't fucking with that. And then like Asia was like, she's an Instagram model. I was like, ooh, okay. Like, the thing is, would you actually say that to her? And knowing how Tracia is, it could go left real quick. But then Asia ain't no punk either, so therefore, it will definitely be a crazy fucking fight if that were to go down. And then like, if anything, they pretty much go back and forth and everything, and KL mentions that he still feels kind of salty about how he was treated when it came down to Asia's fashion show and how she didn't send a car for them. But then she said that, look, it was a bunch of mess. It was messed up. She only did 4 of my faces. And when she said she was going to leave if you showed up, I needed her and I already paid her. And I needed her to fix my models. So, of course, I chose work. But it was no personal thing against you. But I'm just saying, that's just messed up, though. I mean, like, come on. Like, at the end of the day, you ain't gotta like a motherfucker, but you can still be in the same room and work, because at the end of the day, it's about business. And obviously, Charzelle made it personal, and they weren't able to go to the event, and they all feel some way against Asia because they waited for the car to show up and it never did. And it's all on the account of Charzelle and how she felt. So pretty much they had talked about that, and that's what went down in that scene. Then we get a scene with Jordan Fashawn and Tracia J. They're having the drinks, on the balcony. Both of them are looking clean. And I have to say, Tracia J looked gorgeous in that red with that hair. Baby looked clean. I was like, bitch, you better do it. I'm so with my girl Tracia J. She looked really good. So they pretty much talking or whatever. And she brings up that, there's this big old thing between Jean-Pierre and KL. And, they got into it again and all that. And, and then, like, that damn Jordan Fashawn is shady as shit. Because he was like, you know what? It seemed to me that these two tired hoes who want to be the center of attention, and they keep fighting for that number one spot, but they don't even realize that the girls, like us, we the one who shut this shit down, and we are the ones who get the attention, They both old, lame, and tired, and they need to get rid of it. They need to give it up and throw it over the balcony, bitch. I was like, damn. And he's like, I ain't got time for all that messy shit. And pretty much, they talking about this and talking about this and, talking about, their shit and that shit, and they talking about checks. And it's like, first of all, you winning when you not just get one check, but you getting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. When you getting that many checks, then you doing something. And he said that, me, I ain't for the drama, because you bring drama my way, it is not gonna be pretty. So we definitely gonna see down the line that, yeah, there's gonna be some issues with that. And I will be sitting waiting to see how that's gonna go down, because Jordan looks like the type that will definitely pop off. And then he also talks about he's working with Asian Doll's tour and that he's styling for the tour. And he's like, look, I got them checks coming in. I ain't got time for the bullshit. So that happened there. Then we see that Asia is meeting at this salon called Salon Baptiste, where the models are all getting together, where they're going to, get their looks together and all that, to go to this event. And we see that Asia and DC shows up. She's, working with him or whatever, and they're talking, and then all of a sudden KL shows up, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, KL gonna be all up in this shit, because he is thinking that something's gonna go on between them, and he's gonna drive this, and lo and behold, that's exactly what KL did. So, he's pretty much saying that, and then, they pretty much, go back and forth and everything, and so he's saying, you and him are here. No Jean-Pierre, no Tracia J, no, like, that's it. But she said that, look, I invited everybody. The people that responded, who didn't. And she said that, look, there were people who I sent direct messages to on IG. And I know they synced it because, when you send a message, it lets you know whether the person that you sent it to seen it. So she's like, yeah, I saw that they seen it, but they didn't respond, and I ain't chasing no damn body. It is what it is. So then he also mentions that there's a magazine release party that Tracia J is holding, and then she's like, oh, the Instagram model. So they was kind of throwing that out there, and then like KL and DC, they was pretty much. Talking. So pretty much, KL decided to pull DC aside because he want to get the tea what's really going on between the two of them. So he asked, was she gonna go to the Tracia J's event? And because Asia says she might check it out, and then again she might not. I mean, it's all funny. She don't want to show up to nobody else's shit, but she want people to show up to hers, and that's how Asia feels. And so KL and DC go talk, and he asks about Tracia J's event or whatever. Is he gonna come through? He said that, look, if Asia might go, I might slide through to see what it is. And KL's like, oh, look at you. Like, I just think that DC's just a smooth dude. He's smooth, he got swag, and he got like a real cool, calm, laid back way about him. And I have to say Asia's the same way, so they kind of have that in common. But But all of a sudden, we see that KL's kind of like, something going on with y'all. I don't know. Y'all say it's y'all just friends, but I'm seeing something different. And then KL was like, but Asia, ain't you got a whole husband and you up here, fiending off of DC? What's really popping? So, he's pretty much saying that. And then, DC was in his confession was like, look, we just friends. Ain't nothing like that going on, KL. You just sniffing and trying to find something. Like what, a man and a woman can't be friends now? So they pretty much arrive at, after they do what they do, they all arrive at this Club Biza where she's having this event or whatever. Asia, that is. And then KL immediately went in and was like, look, I normally don't do these kind of events, and it's kind of like on the other side of town. I normally be, in the upscales, but I can just say I looked at this clientele, and I'll leave my comments to myself. I'm like, y'all shady ass. I can't with KL. But they had the VIP section. And then he's saying that, from what I was thinking, there was going to be runway press and a red carpet and all of that. And all I'm seeing is that we just dressed up and went to the club. And then we see that the rest, everybody is like turning up, having a good time. KL just kind of sitting there like, I'm like, damn. You can just look on his face that like, I'm not amused. And it just literally read. His face expressions told everything. And pretty much DC saying that, this was a dope night. It was like the 4th of July. Like, we was turning up bottles and, sparkles was going off. We was doing the damn thing. And then we see that, Asia was like dancing with one of the models and everything. And then all of a sudden, he was like, you twerking and shit? Ain't you got you a whole husband? Asia, And then we see that Asia and DC, they go off with each other. They go hold hands and they start dancing with each other. And then all of a sudden, that damn KL, them damn antennas come up. And I have to say, his look in the confessionals where he had, the like futuristic shades and he had that blazer, looked clean. I have to say, shout out to KL. He looked clean in that confessional. I love that look. And all of a sudden he saw them dancing and they, they was kind of getting it in with each other. And he was like, just as I thought. All of that. And then the song that was playing was actually by an artist named Veronica V. And Cachet Royale actually designed her cover. And it was a beautiful cover. So, shout out to Cachet Royale. You did that shit. So then we have the next event was Tracia J's cover release party, for her, I think her international magazine. And I have to say shout out to Tracia J. She actually had this photo where she looked like a Barbie that was on Instagram. You did that shit. Tracia J looked gorgeous. I was like, oh boo boo, you gave Christy a run for her fucking money, because she looked really good, and I was really here for that look. She really is doing big things with her magazine and with her look and her aesthetic. Big fan of Tracia. So we see that KL shows up, and his look with the hat and everything, it was giving me like Indiana Jones tease. I mean, I was like Raiders of the Lost Ark, it looked clean. I mean, but that damn hat, I was definitely like, it just gave me Indiana Jones all day, every day. And they put in the disclaimer that KL was actually turned away at the door, and they said that there was no event and no cameras were allowed or whatever. So then he gets on the phone. I think he was talking to DC, and he was like, you know what? This is some bullshit. I called her and she said that she on her way and shit. And, she gonna be here in about 5 minutes. She's like, oh no, fuck that shit. Fuck her. I'm not here for this bullshit. Like, this shit is beneath me. I ain't got time for this shit. I came here to your event and you ain't even got nothing going on. Like, what the fuck is really going on? I'm going the fuck home. I ain't got time for this shit. And we come to find out, and this was the gag, Tracia J did have the event, but she instructed the staff to not let KL in because she didn't want any drama disrupting her celebration. And then we see Tracia in the confessionals like, oh yeah, my event was a success and I didn't want KL there because I didn't want any drama. I wasn't here for no messy shit. You're not gonna fuck up my thing, and it is what it is. And that's where the shit ended. And I was like, wow. So you literally pulled a Jean-Pierre on his ass, where, you know, in episode 1 he thought he was going to a gala, but really it was a artist promotion event and they were all overdressed for it. Tracia took this to another level. She pretty much had the staff lie to him and say that her event wasn't there when actually it did happen, but she instructed the staff to not let him in and to not let his cameras in. So I was like, ooh, when this shit gets back, I know KL is going to be hot. But that was the episode, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of the Fashionaires of Atlanta. So until next time, everybody, take care.